Jaya Kunja Bihari. Yamunatira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Karnamuni and Devahuti, verse number 11.
Taticha.
Dvija Griyamam Shraddhayo Paritam Maya Sarva Manurupam Te. Hare Krishna. That's too, okay. More. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna. Okay. Grihamedishu. Karmasu. Tat Praticha Tvija Gri Mam Shraddhayo Paritamaya Sarvat Mananurupam Te Grihamedishu Karmasu Tat Praticha Vijagre Mam Shraddhayo Paritamaya Sarvat Manu Rupam Te Grihamedishu Karmasu Sarvat Mananurupam Te Grihamedishu Karmasu Sarvat Manurupam Te Grihamedishu Karmasu. Tat. Therefore, Pticha, please accept Dvija Argya, O best of the Brahmanas, Imam, her, Shraddhaya,
with faith. Uparitam, offered as a presentation. Maya, by me. Sarva Atmana, in every way. Anurupam, suitable. Te, for you. Grihamedisu, in the household. Karmasu, duties. Therefore, please accept her, O chief of the Brahmanas, for I offer her with faith, and she is in every respect fit to be your wife and take charge of your household duties. Report by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. The words griha medisu, karmasu mean in household duties. Another word is also used here, sarvat manu rupam. The purport is that a wife should not only be equal to her husband in age, character, and qualities, but must be helpful to him in his household duties. The household duty of a man is not to satisfy his sense gratification, but to remain with a wife and children and at the same time attain advancement in spiritual life. One who does not do so is not a householder, but a grihamedi. Two words are used in Sanskrit literature. One is a grihasta, and the other is grihamedi. The difference between grihamedi and grihasta is that grihasta is also an ashram or spiritual order. But if one simply satisfies his senses as a householder, then he is a grihamedi. For a grihamedi, to accept a wife means to satisfy the senses, but for a grihasta, a qualified wife is an assistant in every respect for advancement in spiritual activities. It is the duty of the wife to take charge of household affairs and not to compete with the husband. A wife is meant to help, but she cannot help her husband unless he is completely equal to her in age, character, and qualities. Quality. Shri Shri Radha Govinda Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Om Agyana Timirandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishnam Stapidam Jena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantingam Vande Ham Shri Guru Shiyuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagujatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Vitams Cha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpade Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatam Surato Pangur Mama Mandir Mater Gati Matsarvasva Padambojo Radha Madana Mohano Dibyad Brindaranya Kalpadrumada Śrīmad Ratnagara Singhasana Sto Śrīmad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prastalabi Savyamano Smarami Shriman Rasa Rasarambi Bamsi Bhatta Tatasti Taha Karshan Venus Vanar Gopir Gopinatha Sriyestuna Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubias Jagribas Nubiyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gora Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Tat Paticha Vijagre Mam Shraddhayo Paritam Maya Sarvat Manu Rupam Te Sarvat Mana Nurupam Te Griha Medisu Karmasu. Therefore, please accept her, O chief of the Brahmanas, for I offer her with faith, and she is in every respect fit to be your wife and take charge of your household duties. So Krishna is very, very kind, and at the same time, very, very ingenious. Later in this canto, where the son of Devahuti, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kapila Dev, is giving instruction on devotional service and the absolute truth in general. Just see the strength of my Maya. Simply by the mere movements of her eyebrows, she can keep the greatest conqueror of the world under her grip. So this whole material world is functioning under the spell of sex attraction. Not very difficult to understand this. Everything, everywhere, what is the motivation for people? It's based on illusion. Illusion of identifying the body as the self. And it all comes from sex attraction. And this sex attraction of the conditioned soul, Krishna explains to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, is based on lust. And this lust, the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world, it has its origin in aversion to Krishna and to Krishna's devotional service. So therefore, the process of devotional service is both the means and the goal in and of itself, means towards purification or correcting this mistaken identity or this mistaken motivation. A disciple early on asked Srila Prabhupada a very simple question, but found the answer very profound and encouraging. Actually, it was Govinda Dasi. Prabhupada, you say that we were, at the time of initiation, we're liberated, but I still feel inclination to perform, sinful activities or materialistic activities, even though I'm trying to follow my vows. And Prabhupada, he pointed to a fan in his room, like a little table fan. You see this fan? If you unplug the electricity, it will still spin for a little while. But because you're not putting in any new energy to make it spin, it's assured that it will stop, and stop very, very soon. I mean, if you look proportionately, a fan being given a steady current of electrical energy, okay, let's talk about a big fan that we use in the kitchen, like during Sunday feast in the hot weather. It's so powerful that we have to put that it's manufactured. It comes in such a way that it has a very heavy metal screen all around it, so nobody puts their hand in mistake, because it's going so fast and it's so strong it could damage your fingers or even cut them off. So that is how powerful is the material energy. So that's another, that we shouldn't be so discouraged with people's reaction. The reaction of people to, in general, to our book distribution or Harinam, let's just say perceivably, is not so favorable or not so desired results that we would want proportionately to those who are favorable and we get the desired results. That's because the energy that's spinning their sinful desires and material desires is so strong that, practically speaking, they're helpless to do anything except to continue in that energy or that avalanche or snowball going downhill. But we should rest assured that just even a small amount of association with the representatives of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya of Lord Chaitanya, seeing the devotee, having even a courteous exchange, which is not really based on them surrendering to give a donation, take a book, or say the holy name, or to say something like yesterday, we're in the top of the circle by the arch, which is I would say, one of the top 10 iconic New York visuals. So everybody wants to take a picture. And we just happened to be there. Did you got a little confused yesterday? Oh, somebody's interested? But they're actually just taking a picture, right? So they take a picture and we're in the picture. They're taking a picture of the arch, but the Harinam is there. So in due course, that is so powerful that by Krishna's sweet will, in his own good time, that little devotional service will amplify, multiply, fructify, and they're on their way to a progressive and better and ultimately perfected existence. So Kapila Devi says to Mother Devahuti, see the strength of my illusory energy. And Prabhupada writes in the purports in that section that we understand, Janmadi Asyayataha, that everything in existence, it originates from Krishna. He's Sarva Karana Karanam, he's the cause of all causes. And everything that we see has its original origin in complete purity for the satisfaction of Krishna to be utilized in Krishna's pleasure pastimes with his pure devotees in the spiritual world. Vaikuntha, and ultimately the topmost place of Krishna's pleasure pastimes, Goloka Vrindavan. So that Krishna, he wants to be attracted by womanly beauty. Now, can he be attracted by beauty of a material woman? It is not possible. Therefore, he has to create a woman out of his internal energy. That woman is Srimati Radharani. And how is Krishna attracted to Srimati Radharani? Srimati Radharani, her very, the essence of her entire being is to give satisfaction to Krishna, to please Krishna, to render pure, unalloyed, unmotivated, uninterrupted, pure devotional service. Indeed, she is the source of devotional service, and more than that, she, as Prabhupada says, is the via media connecting all living entities to Krishna through devotional service. She is Bhakti Devi. So therefore, understanding the loving affairs of Radha and Krishna, their relationships, their guna, rupa, lila, etc., This is the perfection of all spiritual life, the perfection of all purification, and the goal of all of our duties, activities, stages of advancement, stages of life, etc., sheltered under the instructions of the pure devotee of Radha and Krishna, our spiritual master. So in the beginning, while the fan blade is still spinning, or we haven't completely reached the stage where the energy from the previous plug-in can no longer influence at all, we have to be very, very careful to not try to understand the relationship of Radharani and Krishna, the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, based on our material experience or material idea based on our previous identification of the body as the self. Prabhupada writes in one place in the Bhagavad Gita that elimination of the non-essentials does not mean that we should negate or give up the essentials. So renunciation of the materialistic way of life can only be done on the strength of purification and ultimate understanding of what is the most sublime reality. The words grihamedisu, karmasu, means in household duties. Another word is also used here, sarvat mana nu rupam. The purport is that a wife should not only be equal to her husband in age, character, and qualities, but must be helpful to him in his household duties. The spiritual master is always eager to hear and chant about the unlimited conjugal pastimes of Radhika and Madhava and their qualities, names, and forms. So Krishna's tu Bhagavan Svayam. Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. From him, unlimited self-manifestations of his very self proceed. And correspondingly, Radharani, Mahalakshmi, she expands as the consort of that particular expansion, incarnation, exactly suited to his character, his qualities, his mission, everything. In the Krishna book, we have the very detailed account of the marriage of Krishna to his first wife. Who was the first wife of Krishna? Rukmini. Right? So, what a story that imagine she would have as her eldest brother an avowed envious enemy of Krishna, who happened to be the third incarnation of, was Shishupal, Hiranyakashipu, come down the line, Hiranyakashipu, Ravana. So so Dantavakra was, okay. So Krishna, he spices up the pastime to make it very, very interesting. A lot of adventure there. So he, against even his their father, King Bhishmaka's desire, Prabhupada says, King Bhishmaka was not at all enthusiastic to hand over his daughter Rukmini to Shishupal, but he didn't want to disappoint, or he felt helpless or powerless to go against his eldest son's desire and wishes. Rukmini, she could not bear it at all. And she wrote a confidential letter. And Jai was Hiranyakashipu. Okay. And keep in mind that he got the benediction to be able to insult freely Krishna 99 times, and on the 100th time, your quota is up and your head comes off, finished, you know. And when Krishna got the letter delivered by a confidential Brahmin messenger of Rukmini, he said, "Yes, I will accept her without fail. She is equal to me in all good qualities. In fact, I myself cannot sleep at night. I am thinking about her." And it was a great adventure, and Krishna just came like a lion and just taking his share of the booty away from all the jackals and lower animals, and they were powerless to overcome him, the lion. And Prabhupada, he gives a detail, maybe it's Shruta Kirti. They're hearing Prabhupada, the Krishna book is being read, and Prabhupada gave this detail that Rukmini took the reins of the horses while Krishna was shooting the arrows and fighting the princes who were trying to make some type of fight to stop Krishna from kidnapping Rukmini. And the way Prabhupada was saying that, he was in great, Prabhupada was saying in a very thrilling way, in a very ecstatic way. So that Krishna is the king of Dwarka, he's a great Kshatriya. So his wife, his consort, she's a very, very great Kshatriya princess, fit to be Krishna's queen. And then later, talks between Krishna and Rukmini. Rukmini was very grave and very, very sober in her service. And the epitome of what's described here, that the wife should be an assistant in every respect and should not compete with the husband. We see contrary or opposite or quite different from that was Krishna's relationship with Satyabhama. Always some type of arguing, and even seemingly that Krishna was likened unto a henpecked husband, that when the Parijata tree of heaven, which is a very special plant, which only grows in the heavenly planets and produces an extremely aromatic celestial flower with an incredible scent, that she wasn't satisfied just getting a flower, one flower. She wanted an entire plant. And Krishna had to go to the heavenly planets and have a fight with Indra to bring it back for her pleasure. So Krishna wanted to play a joke on Rukmini and see if he could rouse her to some type of anger and see her in a different mood than just sober and grave and very, very humble and submissive. And basically saying that you made a wrong choice in choosing me as your husband. You were so qualified, you were so exalted, you have so many good qualities. Me, I'm just like a vagabond. I'm not really a Kshatriya, I'm actually a Vaishya. I was born in the cowherd pastures. I don't know how to please a wife in all the nice ways of suavity and urbanity, and and people don't know what is the aim of my life, and you've made a wrong choice. And this is a time when she already has grown-up sons and even grandchildren. But better late than never. You can leave me and choose one of the other princesses who were just so lusty after you, and chalk out your own lucrative path in life. As for me, I'm completely unable to help. And Rukmini took these words so seriously that she fainted, and that she lost bodily weight so much that her bracelet slipped off her wrists. She was engaged in fanning Krishna with a chamara fan. She just fell down, fainted, dropped the chamara whisk. Krishna, understanding the seriousness of her love for him, manifested his forearm form and picked her up with his forearms and embraced her to his chest. And then Rukmini made this amazing rebuttal to each and every one of Krishna's statements, glorifying him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that her being his loyal and submissive wife and helper and partner is the very be-all and end-all of her existence. And Krishna ultimately made the statement, he said, I just did this to see if I could provoke some loving anger in you, but I was defeated, and I approve each and every one of your words, which should be exemplary, ultimately, for all women. In the 5th canto, there is the very wonderful chapter, the residents of Jambudweep offer prayers, and the incarnation of the Lord Kamadev is worshipped there by chief worshiper is Lakshmi Devi. In Ketu Malavarsha, Lord Kamadev moves very graciously. His mild smile is very beautiful, and when he increases the beauty of his face by slightly raising his eyebrows and glancing playfully, he pleases the goddess of fortune. Thus he enjoys his transcendental senses. Lakshmi Devi worships the Lord in his most merciful form as Kamadev. Fully absorbed in devotional service, she chants the following mantras. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Rishikesh, the controller of all my senses and the origin of everything. As the Supreme Master of all bodily, mental, and intellectual activities, he is the only enjoyer of their results. The 5 sense objects and 11 senses, including the mind, are his partial manifestations. He supplies all the necessities of life, which are his energy, and thus non-different from him, and he is the cause of everyone's bodily and mental prowess, which is also non-different from him. Indeed, he is the husband and provider of necessities for all living entities. The purpose of all the Vedas is to worship him. Therefore, let us all offer him our respectful obeisances. May he always be favorable toward us in this life and in the next. My dear Lord, you are certainly the fully independent master of all the senses. Therefore, all women who worship you by strictly observing vows because they wish to acquire a husband to satisfy their senses are certainly under illusion. They do not know that such a husband cannot actually give protection to them or their children, nor can he protect their wealth or duration of life, for he himself is dependent on time, fruit of activity, and the modes of nature, which are all subordinate to you. In this verse, Lakshmi Devi, Rama, shows compassion towards women who worship the Lord for the benediction of possessing a good husband. Although such women desire to be happy with children, wealth, a long duration of life, and everything dear to them, they cannot possibly do so. In the material world, a so-called husband is dependent on the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are many examples of a woman whose husband, being dependent on the result of his own fruit of actions, cannot maintain his wife, her children, her wealth, or her duration of life. Therefore, factually, the only real husband of all women is Krishna, the Supreme Husband. Because the gopis were liberated souls, they understood this fact. Therefore, they rejected their material husbands and accepted Krishna as their real husband. Krishna is the real husband not only of the gopis, but of every living entity. Everyone should perfectly understand that Krishna is the real husband of all living entities who are described in Bhagavad Gita as Prakriti, female, not Purusha. So the so-called male, so-called husband in this material world is actually an imposter, because as by definition, and then said here, and every living entity is Prakriti, the expanded female energy of the Lord, not Purusha. The exalted Jiva Goswami Prabhupada was petitioned by a very saintly personality, Mirabai, they were contemporaries. She ultimately left her the kingdom of her family and the intrigue and diplomacy that it involved, and took shelter in Sri Vrindavan Dham. There's a beautiful place that commemorates her place of bhajan, and her deities are still there. It's right near the Radha Damodar temple. Those who have the opportunity to visit and stay in Vrindavan should go and visit. So she wanted to have an audience with Jiva Goswami. Yeah. And Jiva Goswami said, it is not possible for me as a brahmachari. Jiva Goswami actually never took sannyas. He remained brahmachari throughout his life. For me to have an audience with a woman. And the note came back through the messenger, since when is there more than one male in Vrindavan? Meaning Krishna is the only male everywhere, but what to speak in Sri Vrindavan. And with that, Jiva Goswami could understand the caliber of this saintly personality. And there was a meeting. Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, Purusham Shasvatam Divyam Adi Devam Ajam Vibhum. You are the supreme Brahman, the ultimate, the supreme abode and purifier, the absolute truth, and the eternal divine person. You are the primal God, transcendental and original, and you are the unborn and all-pervading beauty. Krishna is the original Purusha, and the living entities are Prakriti. Thus, Krishna is the enjoyer, and all living entities are meant to be enjoyed by him. So the entire Varnashram system, or the system of human life, let's just say practically, not think of something so untouchable as it might seem right now as Varnashram. It is based on everyone progressing to become Krishna conscious, God conscious. So, as I was saying at the very beginning of the class, Krishna is very kind. He gives us our quota. But at the same time, he sets up the system that we can become purified, and more than become just purified, but actually make spiritual advancement. That's what the purport says, the difference between grihasta and grihamedi. Grihasta is simply for gratifying one's animal instincts, and grihamedi is a spiritual order meant to make spiritual advancement. And, as a young couple come together at the beginning of their lives, they're naturally, their proportionate spiritual gravity is less than the natural attraction and proclivities of young people. So it is meant under the order of the spiritual master, which can be made even stronger and more beautiful to the degree that the husband and wife and the whole family are dedicated and with body, mind, time, words, energy, to the mission of propagating Krishna consciousness to others. A very nice maximum for anyone and everyone, no matter what status of life, as Lord Chaitanya himself taught, to keep in mind and try to practice throughout their life is that my life is meant for the benefit of others. A tree, the existence of the tree is to benefit others. Fruit, shade, even giving its whole body, wood, without protest. Therefore, I order everyone in this universe to accept this Krishna consciousness movement and distribute it. Adi Lila, chapter 9. Krishna is the original Purusha, and the living entities are Prakriti. Thus, Krishna is the enjoyer, and all living entities are meant to be enjoyed by him. Therefore, any woman who seeks a material husband for her protection, or any man who desires to become the husband of a woman, is under illusion. To become a husband means to maintain a wife and children nicely by supplying wealth and security. So we see how horrible, what is the caliber of men in this world. They just want to have sense gratification. They don't take the responsibility. Prabhupada pointed out, this woman's liberation, that you poor women are being exploited for the men. You're liberated, so therefore we can have sense gratification and not take any responsibility. Despite what the woke mob says, the women become pregnant, the men don't. Anybody want to argue with me on that? So, women by nature are meant to take care of children, which is a full-time responsibility, especially when they're very, very young. So the husband has to provide. However, a material husband cannot possibly do this, for he is dependent on his karma. Ultimate security is securing one's soul to be transferred out of this hellish pandemonium into the spiritual world. And for that, only Krishna can do. And the husband, one should not become a husband, a mother, a father, a teacher, a worshipful superior, unless he can do what? Deliver his dependents from the path of repeated birth and death. Sunita, the mother of Dhruva Maharaj, gave him such good advice in his predicament, which Dhruva Maharaj wasn't, I want to go back to Godhead, show me the way. He said, I want revenge against my stepmother. My dear boy, the only person who can help you is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he lives in the forest, and you should go there. And that forest that he went to was Madhuvan forest in Vrindavan. Prabhupada says, if one takes shelter in Vrindavan under the lotus feet of Vrindavaneshwari, Srimati Radharani, then all the problems of his life are solved without difficulty. So the Grihastha husband and wife, they're assisting each other to pass through the natural stages of life and come out as vanaprasthas. Why did it get so dark here so fast? Okay, how about like putting a couple of these ones on? Because until this thing in the back gets fixed, it's very dark and dismal in here. Therefore, if one proudly thinks he can protect his wife, he is under illusion. Krishna is the only husband, and therefore the relationship between a husband and wife in this material world cannot be absolute. Because we have a desire to marry, Krishna mercifully allows the so-called husband to possess a wife, and the wife to possess a so-called husband for mutual satisfaction. In the Upanishad it is said, Tena tyaktena bhunjita. The Lord provides everyone with his quota. Actually, however, every living entity is Prakriti, or female, and Krishna is the only husband. Krishna is the original master or husband of everyone, and all other living entities having taken the form of so-called husbands or wives are dancing according to his desire. A so-called husband may unite with his wife for sense gratification, but his senses are conducted by Rishikesh, the master of the senses, who is therefore the actual husband. Lakshmi Devi continues, he alone is never afraid, but who on the contrary gives complete shelter to all fearful persons, can actually become a husband and protector. Therefore, my Lord, you are the only husband, and no one else can claim this position. If you were not the only husband, you would be afraid of others. Therefore, persons learned in all Vedic literatures accept only your lordship as everyone's master, and they think no one else a better husband and protector than you. Rukmini replied to Dwarkadish Krishna, you should, try to accept Shishupal or some of the others, that they were all dishonored like dogs. They're just, in every way, just imposter males. You are the supreme male. You are the supreme hero. You are the supreme protector. And I didn't choose you, like like a young teenage girl out of like sentimentality, but after very mature and deep contemplation. Therefore, taking initiation, sometimes devotees say, oh, I was a teenager, I was young, but now I'm. No. You make that decision with your soul. Beyond the so-called idea of how old you are, or what your position is. Hare Krishna. Tat prichaya dvijagre mam shraddha yo paritam maya sarvat manu rupam te griha medisu karmasu. Therefore, please accept her, O chief of the Brahmanas, for I offer her with faith, and she is in every respect fit to be your wife and take charge of your household duties. Hare Krishna. Should we entertain questions, or should we adhere to the time limit, which I'm 2 minutes late with? I'm happy to leave it as it is. Shri Radha Govinda Deva Ki Jai, Shri Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi Haribol.